What's going on, gamers? So I just looked at this article recently, and what I find interesting is that Sony is coming out straight up and letting their players know that they're never going to do day one releases like Game Pass, and that the business is not sustainable for them. Well, yeah, of course, that's expensive to maintain, but of course, Sony's not going to do this too when the majority of their base is telling them that almost 40%, or pretty much 40% of us probably now, is on premium. We're choosing the highest tier, which is literally almost the same price as Game Pass, which is crazy. Because I don't know. I don't agree with that value. My Plus hasn't been active since probably the beginning of the year because I'm not playing any online games. When I had it active, is because I was playing Helldivers 2, right? Um, and Helldivers 2 is a great game. I definitely had a blast with it. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, I don't want to pay Sony on and off for months to pay something online when I can play third party on my PC. So that's the way I look at their Plus versus on my PC. But I can understand if people are on PlayStation only, or if you have PlayStation and Xbox and Switch, you don't have a PC, that those are your choices. And you don't necessarily have to have online to play single player games either. You know what I mean? But that's necessarily for just multiplayer games. But yeah, there's a lot to read here, so let's get ready to get into this. It says in an interview with GameFile, PlayStation Vice President of Global Services Nick Marjorie, if I said that right or I'm not sure, or McGuire, I don't know, McGuire, was asked whether the company was considering changing its PlayStation Plus policy to match that of Xbox, where first party releases are added to the top tier of its Game Pass services on day one. That's not going to work for Sony. They wouldn't be able to sustain that. Not with the way games are now. They're too expensive. Until they learn how to manage their budget. It says McGuire replied that it wasn't insistent that the company's policies of adding its first party games at least a year after launch, and instead selecting 4 or 5 indies per year to add to PlayStation Plus was working for Sony. So Sony's trying to find this method that works for them to where they give you where they think it's good enough, and then they're reaping maximum benefit off of premium, because premium is not games per month. That's just straight up plus. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, the PlayStation base is basically telling them, yeah, we'll make sure you make just as much or more money profit than Game Pass because you don't have to spend all that money to do it, and we'll support that and pay equal. And that's part of the PlayStation community saying, because they're saying that they think that Plus is just as good as the value of Game Pass. If not, then they would have rebelled against it, but they never did. And that's how we got to this point where we're at right now, because almost 40% of them, or about 40%, are buying that premium tier, which is the highest tier. No, I've only ever got extra. I'm just not interested in that stuff because I feel like all that other stuff is already on my PC. And Sony's just, trying to charge for that. Now going down, it says good. There is no need to devalue their content and train players to not buy first. Well, like I said, Sony's base is not going to be like that. It's different. They just can't do that. You have to have a lot of money to do that. Microsoft's the only one in the world that can do that. Nobody else can do that. Says what? Is anyone really expecting it to happen? I definitely wouldn't do it if I were them. Now, what I will tell you is that Sony recently also updated their Plus catalog. Let me go ahead and say they're actually coming out with a better month. PlayStation Plus July. So we're going to pull this up too. PlayStation Plus July. So they're adding in, they improved this month, better than last month. That was trash, admitted. Diablo 4, King of Fighters 15, and Jasad. They're also celebrating PlayStation Plus turning 15. So there's going to be some deals for the 15th anniversary throughout the month for people who want to look out for that. PlayStation Plus is celebrating its 15-year anniversary later this month, and it's amazing to see how much the service has evolved since it first launched on June 29, 2010. From all of us at Sony Interactive Entertainment, we want to send out a huge thank you to all our fans for your support throughout these years. Please, we really appreciate you overpaying for premium. That we jacked up the price on a couple times. And now we see you're still paying after we jacked up the price, and over 40% of you are doing that. So why would Sony change its plans? Of course not. That doesn't make any sense. Just saying, we hope you can join us for a number of celebratory activities we have planned this summer to commemorate this incredible milestone. Or a canceled milestone? But first, here are the July monthly games for PlayStation Plus members, available July 1st and to August 4th. Huh. By the way, Nintendo's online has been $19.99 for like 8 straight years. They never jacked the price up. If they do now, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm just saying they have yet to jack the price up on their online. Basic. 2 basic months of Plus is a whole year of theirs for 20 for a whole year. It's crazy. That's why I say that Sony's online service is the most anti-consumer now. It was a point to where theirs was actually free. Nintendo was consistently free. Microsoft was the one that was charging for everything. Now that all like flipped around, definitely these companies not being able to manage their budgets. And it's like, how are you in the gaming industry that long? And then like, it's just like in life, like if people start going in debt and are losing money, cut back on your expenses. Cut it in half. You know what I mean? Something like that. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, we can't do this 400 million budget. So drop down some of the technology focus and put more into gameplay, reuse assets that are still really good. You know what I mean? That's this type of stuff. Like you could do that. Japanese do a really good job with that. Especially in Western society, your games are way too bloated. And you also, some of them on purpose will make these games so bloated and not make it better. That way that it takes up the whole hard drive or solid state drive. So you have to go buy another one. Yeah, it all works together, right? You think that it ain't gonna have any use if they don't make it have any use? Yeah, of course. These games today are a perfect example. Over bloated and over budgeted, right? Why is this game 200 something gigs, right? Or 150 gigs and it costs 300 something million, right? And then you realize these companies are not making what they need to off of that game, and then it's like, yeah, they can't continue like that. They have to like readjust. And it's getting like that. And how would it get better if you're getting more technology and you still want to make things look better with insane technology focus like, Naughty Dog, who I think, spends on budgets in games like Spider-Man. You're making all these movie focused aspects. Like they shouldn't be costing that much. But they do. So, and you're seeing them trying to find a balance with that. Well, going down, okay, so they got a Valorant PlayStation Plus pack, PlayStation tournaments, Sony Pictures Core, online multiplayer weekend usually, Monster Hunter Wilds as a game trial. I mean, that's cool, but if you're going to celebrate 15, so this is what I mean. They could do better than this. They don't, though. So, yeah, like when I see this, I'm like, this one ain't going to make me turn on my PlayStation and get on and be like, yeah, I'm so excited to play. Now, Death Stranding 2, sure. You know what I mean? Yo, could I wait for that to come to my PC? Yeah, absolutely, because it's going to look mind-blowing, but yeah, other than that, yeah, I mean, the next game I got is Ghost of Yotei, because Phantom Blade and all that, that's on my PC. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why. Visit the PlayStation Plus 15 anniversary hub for more information. In the last 15 years, we have been focused on providing access to quality game experiences throughout PlayStation Plus, along with key benefits. I mean, there was a time for that, but as of lately, it's just not been good, and you're cruising and winning. You finally dropped a good month this month, though, so I have to give you credit for that. So, but you need to be consistent with that throughout the year. Definitely if you're not giving them the first party games they deserve. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel like you should have improved on it a little bit. You would have been fine. Exclusive PlayStation Store discounts. Yeah. Online multiplayer access, cloud streaming, and more. Since the launch of our monthly games benefit, previously known as Instant Game Collection, more than 500 monthly games have been offered. Like I say, it is a good deal to that certain extent. But as soon as that expires, it's not yours anymore, so it's only when it's active. PlayStation Plus game catalog for Extra and Premium Deluxe members also launched 3 years ago with a reintroduction. Remember, this is a reintroduction. So ever since they had launched this, 40% of people have chosen the Premium. It's only been out a few years. I want you guys to think about it. They went to the highest tier instantly. And they probably are not even playing those classics just because they like PlayStation. Yeah, stuff like that happens. This is called idle fees and just giving them profit just because you want to. Yeah. So, as Sony says right here, our strategy of finding 4 or 5 independent day and date titles and using that to complement our strategy of bringing games in when they're 12 to 18 months old. So this is what Sony thinks about their first party strategy. So good luck trying to see anything after a year or a year and a half. They're making it very clear here, this is their strategy. And they're not going to change it. I didn't think they would to begin with. I'll probably think, well, maybe you might narrow down that window just a little bit, but what they're basically saying is that when their games launch, they're going to get as much sales out of it as possible, then drop the price and squeeze everything out of that, and then when there's nothing left, they'll put it on that service. That's the game that Sony's playing, and that's the game they're always going to play. So at least we have an answer on that now, right? So we can know some of Sony's future now, so we get that idea. So it's pretty much the same thing then. They're just trying to get their stuff together. And because third party is so good that they're able to do this. This is what happens when third party is so good. Like I tell people, the third party royalty of just being able to sit there and allow it to be successful and then say, I'm putting all these over here to support this platform. Makes sense. No need to cut the value out of the product when people are clearly ready to pay money for it. Well, that's what I mean, because you're telling them that. So why would they do that? Insomniac was basically begging them not to put their games on there. They're going to make that full profit. Yeah, they needed to make back a lot. It's crazy what they needed to make to break even on Spider-Man. I was like, damn. Let me show you what I mean. What was it? Spider-Man 2 profit to break even. What was needed? It had to sell 7.2 million copies at full price to break even on development costs. This game development budget was 300 million. Not even talk about marketing, none of that. With 270 as the original budget and 30 million added during development. According to IGN and GameSpot, as of February 24th, the game has sold over 10 million copies. See? It needed to sell 7.2 million to break even. So we know Spider-Man was going to do that, and it had that, but that's still crazy, isn't it? They can't manage their budget right. That's all I see here. So yeah, it's not just also you not doing this right, but people could have had what they needed, but they couldn't even get their budget to go correctly. And then it's a problem. It's like we did all this. We did, no matter how good this is, we still have to sell 7.2 million to even be able to get back to what we spent. Yeah, that's kind of like I don't know if that would be a healthy mind state. Like if you were in the office thinking that all the time, that you always had to like hit that craziness, like to get that close to 10 million in order to make the money that you need to continue. Yeah, at that point, then there needs to be some serious adjustments, and I think we get the idea here. So let me know what you guys think about this. We get the idea of where Sony's moving now. They don't want to follow Microsoft's route. They feel like that there's, well, like we said before, if 40% of people are purchasing premium, how the hell is that going to happen? It's not possible. It just isn't going to be possible. It's not going to happen even then. But there we have it. So expect the same PlayStation for PS6. It's all right here. They're telling you everything. That's why I like covering this stuff. So there we have it. Ponies, y'all relax. Right? No, y'all been enjoying drama. But yeah, personally, this doesn't bother me. Because this is what I expected. I mean, you already told me 40%, and they're basically saying they're going to jack the price up again. Yeah, expect that to happen, because this is what I believe is going to happen. So if I'm wrong, I will say that. But as far as I'm concerned, Game Pass is going up, Plus is going to go up again, the Pro is going to go up, the base PS5, and a couple other things are around the corner. And we're going to get some more answers here in the next month and a half about that other unknowing stuff too. But there we have it. So here's an update on this. All right, y'all. Anything else comes up, we're going to keep it real on this channel. Peace out, y'all.